The hardest game as Poland, where I have both Germany and Russia breathing down my neck. But that's fine, because as the best Rising Nations player, I destroy everything in my way. I started off normally by sending my infantry to the mountainous parts of the Czech Republic to mount inspect them, and I made my usual 5 factory setup by getting both the improved infrastructure and ignore safety regulations policies. And I'm having fun capturing the Czech Republic so I could form. But no, this kid, Germany, decides to go for the Czech Republic and take cities from me to stop me from forming. So I did what every player would do. I found his address and anyways, I took over Slovakia and prepped some tanks to get revenge on Germany since he wants to take my cities from me. Yeah, I marched in all happy with 1,600 tanks, and this guy put out 3,000 tanks like it was nothing. So I split up my troops and decided to rush entrenched 3,000 tanks with only 1,600. Nothing can go wrong, right? Yeah, sorry I wasted all that Sigma action music on nothing, but I mean he sent in another 1,000 tanks, so it was 1,600 against 4,000. So I mean I consider it a win. Yeah, I guess Germany got fed up of me easily destroying him, so he started auto-capturing and left no troops defending his capital, so I sent some tanks to take it over. And I mean, would you look at that? As I'm fighting on Berlin and committing war crimes to every civilian, France decides to start taking over Germany. I mean, have you not seen what I did to this guy because he took over the AI check from me? Yeah, France isn't going to be too happy for what I'm about to do. I pieced and annexed whatever land I was able to get from Germany and declared on the French. I mean, this guy, who's apparently a Rise Nation slave, decided to rush my 1,800 tank stack. Anyways, after he rushed my tanks and lost, I decided to try and take his capital, but I guess he isn't as bad as I thought he was, because his infantry was much better than I thought they would be, and I don't know if that was because they were entrenched, but I put up a good battle, but I still, rushed Paris 26 times before actually taking it. I spent a decent amount of time prepping more tanks to go back on the offensive, but I guess he had the same idea, as he sent 2,000 tanks over our border, which I stopped by flanking them. After he lost those tanks, he sent another 1,000 tank attack, and I scorched some small cities I thought he would be landing on. But he avoided those cities and went for Berlin. And I was gonna scorch it, but I felt like I could have avoided and defeated those tanks without scorching it. So I flanked his tanks once again and defeated them. Thankfully, he didn't scorch Berlin once he took it. I started to auto-capture with the tanks I used to attack his troops on Berlin, and he scorched the Rhineland, which wasn't a good move for him, because he could have tried to get it back and then spam more tanks. But it was good for me, so I didn't complain. And always remember to never correct your enemy's mistakes. Yeah, see that whole thankfully he didn't scorch Berlin thing? Well, he took it anyway, so I scorched it. And then he moved his troops, and I thought he was gonna attack my southern square city. But he decided to start auto-capturing with 5,000 infantry. Listen, if you're gonna use infantry to take over cities, make sure that they're more than one unit per stack. Like, come on, man, you can't be attacking my cities with 5,000 infantry and expect to make a difference. I don't know how the hell this keeps happening to me. I start winning a war, and then another guy jumps into it. This time it was the UK, so I justified on him because I'll gladly fight a 2v1 if this guy's trying to take my rightful Polish land. I prepared around 1,000 tanks to try and take over Paris, but I'm pretty sure that this guy was on static lines because my troops were getting destroyed once I rushed his cap. But this is only a slight pushback. We will sacrifice our whole population if it means taking over Paris. I now set in an 800 tank stack to fight in Paris, which I mean I lost again, but it's weakening his troops, and because the UK's destroyer is also attacking them, it means he can't reinforce. So if I keep doing this, he will eventually lose and I'll win the war. I sent another 900 tanks to attack Paris, and I meant it when I said I'll sacrifice our whole population to win the Battle of Paris. But I guess I don't have to. I was able to successfully take over France's capital, and now I could focus on the UK. This genuinely got me worried. France sent in 200,000 infantry to try and retake Paris, and I kept getting flashbacks of my 26 times of fighting in Paris, but my tanks held strong and easily won the battle. So now my focus was completely on the UK. The UK sent a weak attack of trying to land 400 tanks on my Polish land. This was very foolish of him, and he even realized this soon after, and disbanded all of his troops like a good boy, and said GG. I noticed that the US had some troops near our border, so I sent 200 tank stack to defend, since I didn't really think too much of it, and I didn't expect him to attack me, and those 200 tanks were just a caution, but I was wrong. The US was planning to attack me for a while, and he wasn't going to hold back. He sent a 1.3 million infantry stack to start auto-capturing, but he made one slight mistake that ruined his whole attack. He auto-captured with only 10,000 infantry, and if he attacked with more troops, he would have been in a much better position, and me winning the wars because he did this. Anyways, I'll show you exactly how it went down. Right now, he's 100% winning. He retook almost all of France that I spent years fighting for, and even some of Germany and my mainland. But once he sent his infantry back to regroup, I wasn't going to miss out on this opportunity. I made artillery, set destroyers, and tanks to fight him to cause as many losses as possible. I knew that there was no way I was wiping out 500,000 infantry with a couple of tanks, but this made him panic, and he decided to rush my fortified capital, which was a huge mistake. After he lost almost all of his troops in the attack, I started to auto-capture and retake my land. After I retook my land, it was my time to attack, and I started by taking Italy, which was his only base in Europe, and occupying it would stop him from being able to spam out more troops. After I took over Italy, the US sent even more troops from his mainland into France and auto-captured again. Like, bro, how many times do you want me to go back and forth with you? I decided that I had enough, and I sent my tanks to his mainland, which I took over all of his cities, and then I force-pieced him. And I definitely didn't get stopped by a couple of subs. Anyways, I made another stack, and then I sent them to the part of the US where he wouldn't expect me to land. Thankfully, I landed right before he noticed. Along the way to Washington, I took over some of his factories and deleted them, and I killed a couple of his troops on the way. But that doesn't matter. What matters is the Battle of Washington, and if I take his capital, it's gonna be wraps for him. After I took over Washington, I basically camped in it until he started falling apart because I needed to make sure that he wouldn't be able to recover once I was done with him. Anyways, thanks for watching, and if you watched this far, help me out by liking and subscribing so I could keep making videos like these.